Welcome to Haunted Homebodies, where Halloween isn't just a day, it's a lifestyle. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Sarah, and we're your guides through the delightfully dark corners of comfort horror.
Grab your beach bags and your boogie boards.
It's time to get a bigger boat.
Woo! Sarah, Shark Week is coming up next month. Is this something you celebrate?
I have not in years. I used to be so excited about Shark Week and made it a point, and this is back when you had to watch things when they were on television at the time they were on, 'cause I wanted to sound really old today. And I just haven't in years. I don't even think I would know where to find it before today when I did research about it in preparation for this episode, and it turns out it's all going to be on HBO Max. So maybe I'll return this year.
Yeah, it was definitely something that I used to watch pretty religiously as well when it was on cable, and it was something I looked forward to. Yes. I didn't say cable like that to be like, cable? Is that the word you're looking for? But it's true. There's something about streaming Shark Week and just having 500 different Sharky videos that just doesn't feel the same as all the commercial build up and the watching all at the same time.
And you can just find a bunch of shark videos anytime you want. So why is Shark Week any different?
Yeah. Let us know if anyone still watches Shark Week, and if they're also are they still coming up with new exciting things? I remember them doing the shark versus Michael Phelps simulation of who was faster, and that felt like they were maybe running out of ideas at that point, but I don't know.
My friend, also named Ashley, used to be super into Shark Week. I should check in with her about it. She may be able to give us a good pulse on this.
I'd like to know if it's still cool and still fun to watch. But I used to say that Shark Week was the scariest week of the year for me because, as you know, I have a pretty major shark phobia. I think it's safe to call it a phobia.
Yes.
I have near panic attacks if I go in the water most of the time, particularly New England water, something about the dark, the cold. It really puts me on edge. And then, I'm constantly thinking I'm about to get eaten. And where did this come from? People would be like, did it come from watching Jaws? I don't think so. It started pretty young, and it would surprise me if I had watched the movie. I don't remember the first time I saw Jaws. A lot of people it was very young, and it's their first experience where they're like, okay, so sharks are a bit scary, but also awesome. I don't remember, but I do remember... And you were very aware of this occurrence. I used to have shark nightmares all the time, at least one per week. They were very creative. I should have written them down. They were very creative, very fun. The worst part, aside from them just being scary because I was constantly being, around sharks, was that more than once, they wouldn't just attack. They would eat me. And I wouldn't wake up. I wouldn't wake up. You're supposed to wake up. You're not supposed to die. I've died in my dreams. I don't think that's normal or necessarily good. One time someone threw, I don't know if this is not relevant, but I'm just having a memory. I was standing, and this is in a dream world, which will become very obvious in a minute. I was standing on my grandma's porch, and someone threw a grenade at me, and I blew up in my dream.
God.
Like dusty human. And then the dream just continued, and I was like, all right, well, I guess you don't need me. Anywho.
So I do remember a lot of your dreams because you used to tell us your dreams scary stories. Instead of made up scary stories, you would relay detailed telling of your dreams to me and whoever else was around us.
Yes, this is our podcast origin story. Before we were recording, I was already telling you scary stories. I don't remember if you wanted to hear them or not. I just was like, all right, buckle up. I'm going to tell you what happened because I need to share this drama with someone.
They were
find them
mostly entertaining.
though.
Yeah. They were like really creative. Your brain went
Yes,
places.
it still does. It still
Yeah.
does. At some point, though, it stopped. The shark attack feature. I mean, knock
Oh.
on wood. I don't really do that. I'm not superstitious, but I am very aware of like the power of words and the subconscious mind. I'm gonna say like, okay, brain, don't do this. But I haven't had one for a very, very long time. I have had anxiety dreams, but at some point they switched from sharks to snakes, and I don't know why.
Mhm.
I think I talked about that in the
Oh.
craft episode, how
Yeah.
that scene where there's snakes everywhere she looks,
Yeah.
like that is usually how my anxiety dreams are now.
So it went from something that you could like live a life completely avoiding, you don't go in the ocean to avoid sharks, to something that like could just show up in your backyard someday.
And yeah, and they do.
Yeah.
The octave that my very deep monotone voice reaches when I see even the tiniest snake is startling to everyone, including myself.
I'm really sorry that we put you through having a snake rug in our house when you came to visit. I don't think I realized the degree to which you feared snakes these days.
It's okay. I mean, so snakes and sharks, I fear them, which one is reasonable. They are actually dangerous. Sharks for sure, most of them. Snakes, some of them, not all, but I don't know. I don't have them all the poisonous kinds memorized. Okay.
Most of the ones you're going
But
to encounter in New England are perfectly fine, perfectly
that's
safe.
true. That's true. Most. I still don't get bit, but anyway,
No.
I fear them. I have a healthy fear. No, it's not really healthy. I have extreme fear. But I also like respect them and think they're really cool. So which is I guess why I was really into Shark Week and
Yeah.
snakes
Okay.
freak me out watching them. Something about the slithering. They just the way they move viscerally affects me. And also seeing a shark video actually viscerally affects me. Okay, so I
So
am I
you're still
enjoying
pretty
myself?
afraid of
I don't
sharks.
know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. But I think they're
Well,
cool. That's my official statement.
I love that.
Respect
I
them.
love that you
Respect
can
the
be
hustle.
afraid of them, but like still think that they're cool. There's a note that you wrote somewhere in your Jaws watch about how cute the shark is, and
Did I write
I
that?
love that. He has this cute little shark face.
That is so weird of me to say. And I don't remember doing that. But yeah, he's kind of cute. Have you ever seen the
He
memes where the
is.
shark, they've replaced the sharp shark teeth with just like blunted human teeth? It's so dumb.
That sounds scarier to me. That sounds like what I would have a nightmare about.
That's true. They're kind of cute, but I could see,
Okay.
yeah, clown-esque. So that's more of your brand of terror.
Well, I bet we're gonna see a lot of Jaws memes coming out soon because today, the day that this episode is releasing, June 20th, is the 50th anniversary of this movie coming out. It came out in 1975.
Wow. That was only 30 years ago. I don't know what you're talking
30
about.
years ago.
Isn't
Definitely
that how math
100%.
works?
25 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's exciting. I mean, that is a huge milestone, and I have to say this movie holds up. It's still one of the greatest movies of all time, I think.
I went into this rewatch kind of like, yeah, this is a classic. You do your duty to watch the classics. And I was like, no, this is delightful. I love it.
It's so good. It's so good. It captures a lot of moods. I don't know. It's just a really high quality film. It's great. And everyone thinks so. Everyone, everyone thinks so. Pretty much. I mean, I have never
Yeah.
heard anyone be like, "Ugh, Jaws, what a terrible movie." Never once have
No,
I heard that or
no.
even really come across that on the internet. And the ratings reflect that. Rated 8.1 out of 10 on IMDb, 97% critic score, 91% audience score. I don't know what is up with those 9% of people. It is currently, I don't have any recollection of the first time I saw this movie. It's
Same.
definitely been a comfort watch for me. There's just been times where I'm like, I don't know or I'm kind of like in a weird mood, I'm like, just throw on Jaws, because then
Hmm.
I will think this is part of why I like horror. I like horror because it gives me perspective, and I'm like, at least I'm not being chased down and
Oh.
stabbed. And watching Jaws gives me that same perspective of, at least I'm not being devoured alive by a shark. I'm on my bed. They can't get me unless I fall asleep, and then they probably won't get me.
It's also great because you can just throw on Jaws and not pay a lot of attention and like not lose any of the plot. Like there's a shark, it's killing people, and then some guys go and try to kill a shark. You can
Right.
enter the movie anywhere and you're good.
It's true. It's true. It's both entertaining and it feels decently paced, but not a lot happens.
No. No.
It's
You don't
and
have to keep up with a lot.
right, right. And some people would classify this as a slasher because of that. It's like just a big bad villain killing people one by one. So if you
I
use
kind
that
of
definition,
I kind of love that take. I think that he is totally a slasher villain, and by he I mean the shark who not the actual shark, but the mechanical version of the shark is named Bruce. And I just need to say that out
yes.
loud because it's so delightful. It's so cute.
It's so cute. Bruce, Bruce. I feel like if you looked up movie villain kill counts, Jaws, I want to know where he ranks because I don't know.
Mm.
For some reason, I was feeling like he was pretty high up, but I feel like Jason Voorhees has gotta take the cake.
All right. Well, Jaws across the whole franchise is, let me do some quick mental math. It's like 17 or 18 people.
That's it. So
Yeah.
he's at the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be like kind of dumb to get killed in these movies, or like somebody has to be dumb for somebody else to get killed in these movies. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
Jaws cannot come up on land. I assume I have not seen any of the sequels.
yeah. I don't remember the sequels. I just remember in the second or third one there being an aquarium scene that really stuck with me because people are in an
Oh,
underwater aquarium where there's pathways through the water and it's not executed as interesting as it sounds, but the idea is terrifying, right? You are underwater and then a shark is
yeah,
trying to break the glass and then yeah, it's ooh,
that is very
hard pass.
scary.
Hard pass
It
for
also
me.
reminds me of like, I think it's maybe the third Jurassic Park movie where they were like, we can't just have people keep coming to this island. So then they had the
Uh-huh.
dinosaurs in the city. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah. Yeah, there are limitations, you're right, to Jaws, and evading him is much easier. You either have to forget and, think it's safe to go back in the water, so
Yeah,
to
like someone
speak,
can lie
or
about it being safe, which,
mm-hmm.
by the way, I was just dying. So, like, beginning of the movie, there's clearly a shark attack. Someone is killed by a shark, and the mayor is trying to convince Chief Brody, the police chief, to tell everyone it was a barracuda attack. And I was like, okay, so this movie was filmed in New England. I don't, it's never explicitly said that it takes place in New England. It does. It has like Massachusetts town signs and stuff. Like it's New England, guys. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, now that we've settled that, I'm like, okay, I'm pretty sure that there are not people eating barracudas in New England. We grew up there. I feel like I would have known about that. I would have been scared of them. And I looked it up, and like the largest barracudas off the coast of New England are 18 inches.
No way.
They're
Oh my God.
tiny.
I'm trying to remember where I was because there was a situation. And everything I've said up to this point is going to be really confusing for people as to like how this came to pass. I was young and in the ocean and everyone cleared out and I was like, huh, but like no, there was no like panic. It just was like everybody and then like people are kind of like
Hmm.
standing on the beach looking and I'm like, this is weird. So I go and get out of the water and I'm looking, I'm like, what is everyone looking at? And I feel like they were like, there was like some sort of, I want to say barracuda, like, but there were like a couple of them kind of
Oh.
swimming around. So I almost did get eaten by a barracuda, Sarah, but apparently it was
I
only 18
retract
inches
my
long.
statement.
I am actually not here because I was eaten by a barracuda. Yeah, the one time I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give the ocean a try.
Oh no.
I don't remember. Yeah, I must have been. You know, when you have days where you're like, you know what? If the shark takes me, it takes me. I must have been having one of those days at 7 years old and was just like, yeah, I'm going in. But I don't remember. It's a weird memory and one where I like even thinking about it now, I'm like, the story doesn't even make sense. Like, is this a dream that I have somehow warped into thinking it was real? I'm sure
Yeah.
Kimmy, my mom, she calls in to the podcast, but calls in, meaning she'll like call me and leave me a message and being like, you were saying this and I want to know that. And will
Kimmy,
ask
give
me
us the real
questions.
story.
Maybe she'll remember. And also, like, why didn't you come get me? Well, everyone was fleeing the ocean, and I'm just like floating around with the barracudas.
Because it was 18 inches long and it wasn't a big deal.
I was
That's my
probably like
guess.
the way that this story would make sense is that I was like in knee deep water.
Okay. Okay.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember. I don't remember.
Well, love that. Love that is such a New England vibe, filmed on Martha's Vineyard. Both of us have since lived in California, and California beaches are such a different vibe than New England beaches. Like
For
I just
sure.
saw this beach 50 years ago, and I was like, yeah, that's a New England beach.
Yes, I love movies that are actually filmed in a place that is like where it's supposed to be set. It may not be the exact place, like this town is made up in the movie, but it is made to be very coastal Massachusetts. And then, it was filmed there, which just doesn't happen, I think, now because of cost mostly, but it really does not have to stretch to bring that coastal New England vibe. And for a movie that is scary and disturbing at times, it's also just a really lovely watch. It's just really well shot, really
Yeah.
well acted, and it does just give like the best summer vibes. Like this is such a good movie to pop on when you just want to feel that like summery energy.
100% agree. It is. It's the small town. It's the small town vibe that is present in the vast majority of movies that we talk about on this podcast. If we're talking about cozy horror, it's got a cute little town.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely checks a lot of the cozy boxes for me. But I want to circle back to the mayor because like what a weenie. He's the real villain. Is it Jaws? Maybe Jaws is just hungry. They talk about him being a rogue shark, which I think science has proven is just not a thing, really. It's one of those science things where they've like proven that it's not a thing or proven, as much as science can prove. But also, every now and again, there'll be a shark where they're like, yeah, that was kind of messed up. We don't know why I did that.
Yeah, but watching this movie, like it really struck me how little we knew about sharks 50 years
Mm.
ago. Like truly wild how
Yeah.
little, not that I think this is a paragon of scientific correctness and accuracy, but
Wow.
still
Yeah, yeah.
clear.
Good word. Paragon. I don't think I even know
Thank
what that means,
you.
but that sounded really smart.
Hope I used it correctly.
We don't have enough people listening to find out yet, but you're not going to get emails being like, "What is you use that in the wrong context?" But yeah, I don't even what were we even talking about? You said
The
Paragon and my
mayor.
brain
The
was like
mayor was a
boop boop
weenie.
boop. Yes. Okay, so he was the real villain, although I will say Jaws did seem to have a chip on his shoulder and I was like a couple times like, "Let it go. Let it go. Like go find a seal." This is a bit much. I don't know what his problem was. But also like he's being hunted. So at a
Yeah.
certain point, are you defending yourself? That is something that I want to talk about really quick. That I love this movie. It's a great movie, but it also I think is I don't know what the right word is. It's Paragon. I don't know. people fault the story, which was originally a book, and the film for creating this fear of sharks
Hmm.
and also this attitude toward sharks. Um, that I don't know, that like it's like us against them. And it's like, no, they're just kind of
Hmm.
doing their thing. And yes, sometimes worlds collide and it's really not good, but that doesn't mean that like we have the right to mistreat them, beyond like legal fishing, etc.,
Yeah. And like Spielberg has actually said that he really regrets what happened as a result of the movie. Like a lot,
Mm,
like shark fishing got way more popular. Like people really villainized them. On the
yeah.
other hand, though, I think it did like create a uh um interest in sharks. So like we
Yeah.
did eventually get more information about sharks because of it, but still pretty sad. I was also really sad watching the movie. Like, okay, so Jaws is the villain. He's gonna die at the end. That's fine. But they killed another shark
I
because they
know.
thought it was Jaws.
I know, I know. And yeah, we're not like, if it's not obvious, we're not like the hunting and fishing type. I'm not
No.
against the practices when done ethically, but
Totally.
it's
Hmm.
not for me. And actually, we were standing by the river the other day and people were fishing. And like, I love watching people fish. I think like fly fishing, I love watching people just cast and the babbling brook. And I just find it all very relaxing.
Yeah.
Anytime someone catches a fish, like a guy caught the fish and he was like pulling it in, and then we saw it, and I was like, I can't watch. I have to look away. Like
No,
I
it's
can't handle
so
any of the rest.
sad.
It just really bums me out. Like it's really funny because we're like saying this, and then we're like, decapitate her, rip her head off. But then like it's like a little
It's the
little
human.
fish or a
It's
really big
fine.
fish. I know. It's just so different. It's so different. But yeah, that was part that wow. Ugh. That part was sad. But what did you think of the guys who were hunting Jaws? So this like ragtag team assembles somehow. I'm not exactly sure like how the three of them were determined to be like the best guys for the job. It kind of seemed like they were just the sciency guy, was his name, Hooper. He, I
Hmm.
guess, just had knowledge. And then Quint was just unhinged enough to do it, and then also acted like he like knew more about this type of shark, the rogue shark, and
Hmm.
then Brody just, I don't know, like why is the sheriff addressing this?
Guilt.
Guilt,
He's
yeah, okay.
literally there because of the guilt, and they like
Yeah.
give him the whole he's afraid of water backstory, so he's got
Yeah.
something to overcome. But like, also, did he help? I mean, okay, he killed the shark in the end, but until then,
And the afraid of water, I was thinking about that because they established that, and it is an interesting character feature, especially because they also established that they're on an island, right? And they're like,
yeah,
why,
yeah.
why do you live on an island? I don't remember what the line is, but it's good. He's something like it's only an island if you're looking at it from the water or
Oh,
something. It's something really
yes,
clever and
yes,
good.
that's what he said. Hmm.
Um, but then I don't really remember, like, is there a moment where he gets over that? I don't know. Like, or is it just the pursuit of the shark and that whole adventure just overtakes his psyche enough to just be like, I'm doing whatever it
Yeah, I think he's
takes.
just extra brave to go out
Yeah.
on the boat.
That's the moment of just getting on the
Where
boat is
he
us being
is
like, oh, he's
again
doing it.
useless on the boat. He
So
gets
you're not a
in
fan
the
of Brody, I
way.
guess.
I actually did love him. So something I noticed in this rewatch, I don't remember the first time I saw it or even like the most recent time I saw it, but I don't think it hit me until then, like what a responsibility this man feels to his community.
Yeah.
And I did really
Sorry.
appreciate that about him. Like he took
Yeah.
everything very seriously and he was very caring.
Yeah, he was definitely the antithesis to the mayor, who was like,
Yeah.
this is our beach weekend.
Yeah.
Tell them
Yeah.
it was barracudas and we'll hope for the best.
It's a weenie, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah, true
Um,
weenie.
well, what did you think of the three? Did you have a favorite?
I I did not find Brody to be offensive at all or useless. I really enjoy him. I think partially because of the acting. What is the actor's
Yeah.
name? I can't remember. I meant to write it down, but he is so good. I don't know him or like remember seeing him in anything else. I'm like, why was this man not in like
No.
every movie? He must have been very selective about what movies he was in. But there are a few moments where his acting is so good that it's like almost makes me forget that it's a movie. I don't know. There's just
He's
something about
excellent.
the way that he portrays it. I'm thinking of this one scene in particular, which is actually my favorite scene of the movie. It's so good. It's such a iconic scene. It's when he is kind of like looking away from the water and he's chumming the water. He's gotten the job, so he's not useless. He's chumming. They obviously think he's
Yes.
useless because they're making him chum the water.
Yes.
So he's throwing in these yucky, yeah, chum is so gross. And he's just kind of like mouthing off. He's got a cigarette in his mouth, and Jaws, a little animatronic Bruce, emerges, and we see him. This is the first time we have not Jaws.
Yeah.
He's Bruce has been an off-screen villain for the duration. We have not seen even like we think it's a shark. We don't know for sure. Could be or what kind of shark it is or what it looks like. They think it's like a big fat great white, which it is. But this is the first time we see him. And Brody looks over and sees this shark, which just, yum, nom, nom, on the chum. And his reaction is just so good. The look on his face, the way he stands up, the way he steps backwards slowly into
Uh-huh.
where Quint is. The whole scene, I don't know, it's so good. It's so good. I just love it. The cigarette stays in his mouth the whole time. It's perfect. It's perfect. I'm a big Brody fan, if you can't tell.
He's great. The actor's name, by the way, is Roy Schneider. And I do
Mm,
think he was in quite a bit just a long time before we were paying attention to movies.
fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. And I could imagine him being in a lot of dramatic roles and just things that I
Hmm.
probably wouldn't want to
Yeah.
watch because of.
Yeah.
But yeah, really great. And I don't know, I kind of like all of them in their own way. The thing that I didn't like that was, I guess, maybe a small thing that's missing for me in this movie is I always want there to be like a really cute male friendship aspect, like in Lord of the Rings, where in, Lord of the Rings, they go from not knowing each other to like kissing each other on the cheek and being like, I'll die for you,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
instantaneously. And I love that. I am so here for it. Whereas this, they kind of have like a bonding moment, a little storytelling, but I don't buy them as like a trio, if whoever, like two of them end up surviving, Quint gets consumed, eaten alive.
Oh.
Which maybe we should talk about in more detail and do him more justice than that. But I don't know. I don't think it's like they wouldn't be like hanging out after this or anything. They maybe have a drink at the bar every now and again, but
So, but I think I'm okay with that. I love Lord of the Rings, and one of the reasons is because of the positive masculinity that is shown in that movie. It's amazing. But there is something really interesting about this movie from a couple of perspectives. First of all, like, this is a movie about dudes. That we've got no final girl here because there's really no girls. We get Brody's wife gets a couple of scenes, but like, it's a movie about a couple dudes who, and I hate that this is surprising and delightful to me, but they are not toxic dudes.
Mhm.
Brody is out there for the good of the community. Quint is
For the
doing
fun.
Quint
Yeah,
things.
yeah. What else is Quinn
Coop
gonna do?
Hooper is just like this nerd who loves sharks, but is also really on board with killing them. I have a lot of Hooper thoughts if we get to that.
Mm.
But like then he's really invested also in like helping the community. They don't get together and talk about girls. Like they're there for each other. I don't know. I actually felt like I really enjoyed their dynamic and like had this movie been made by someone else, it could have been a very different dynamic that would have made it a lot less rewatchable today.
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely not a bad dynamic anymore. And I think if I got what I wanted, it would be less of a
Be a little goofy.
classic film. Yeah, it would be a
Yeah.
little more Goonies, a little less greatest movie of all time.
Speaking of The Goonies, by the way, this movie has the same rating as The Goonies, and I can't get over it. This movie is rated PG, as is The Goonies, with the caveat that the PG-13 rating did not yet exist at this time.
Okay. Okay. That makes it a little better, but no, that's just wrong. That's
I
just
know.
wrong.
I completely forgot that at the very beginning of this movie, a child is eaten.
And a
For
dog. We
starters,
don't
a
see the dog,
dog.
but we
Yeah, it's
know.
implied.
It
Yeah.
is implied that, and
We,
I think it's the child and his dog. Like, that's
yeah.
horrific.
That poor woman.
Ugh.
Well, we watch Quint get eaten. Like that is a
Watch.
gruesome death. There's somebody's leg at some point. We see a dead body. And this movie is rated PG.
It makes literally no sense. I can't.
It was
Yeah.
apparently originally rated R and they like took some
Yes.
stuff out, but still like I
Yeah.
don't so the PG-13 rating was actually created for a Spielberg film a few years after this. It was Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Okay.
Because again, it was something that like really did not fit in either one of those, but
I
PG,
think,
PG.
yeah. I think this safely fits in the rated R category, and by today's standards, people would be like, oh, it's kind of soft. I mean, I think they could have. I'm curious to know why they didn't just leave it in rated R and why they were like, we need this to be a family film because,
Because it created the summer blockbuster. It would not have
well,
been a
I
blockbuster if
guess
it was rated R.
that's true. That's true. And I don't know. I feel like probably all of the kids who are traumatized by this and continue to be traumatized by this are like, it's fine.
Yeah,
Whatever. I was
it's
scared. It was fun. Now I love it. That's just like how that works. It's bizarre, but maybe it is for the best because it was able to be this movie that walks the line in terms of like its gruesomeness, and especially for like the time, they had limitations in terms of like how they could shoot things and what effects they could use. And it does create this movie that is intense, scary, sometimes gruesome, but also like that's not what it is. Like you could classify this as a horror movie, but it's not a horror movie in that traditional sense of like it's about the gore, it's about the fear. Like it's just a movie and then has those elements in it.
I actually, while I was watching this, pulled out this horror bingo card that you sent to me in a cute little care
Oh,
package to see if this like would have a shot, and it doesn't. And this
yeah.
is like the classic horror movie things like cabin in the woods, snakes, a
Mm.
masked killer, lights flickering. It kind of has lights flickering. Okay, there's one, but it doesn't have most of, and the lights flickering is not in that traditional scary way. It's just because Bruce knocked the shit out of that boat.
Yeah. Oh, Bruce. Bruce,
He's great.
Bruce.
Bruce.
Well, any final
Yeah.
thoughts?
Well, I do have as suggested by you,
Oh
Jaws
yeah.
trivia game for you,
I did no
if you're
preparation for
ready.
this aside from watching the
Great.
film, so I am excited to see if I know any of them.
Excellent. Let's get into it. Your first fact, true or false, about Jaws. Jaws was based on a series of real life shark attacks that took place in 1916 off of Cape Cod.
Hmm. So yeah, so Jaws was originally a novel, so the movie is based on the novel. Now, is the novel based, and those shark attacks were real. So I'm gonna say true, just because all of these things feel real. I don't know if he based the novel off of that though.
So this was kind of a trick question from several different directions. I promise this is the only trick question. Um, the author of the novel has claimed that the book was not based off of a series of real life shark attacks, but there was a series of attacks in 1916 in New Jersey, Jersey
Hmm.
Shore, that are like way too similar. It's like so on the
Yeah.
nose that it's like, okay, obviously it was based on these.
Yeah,
So
that's like when artists are not, they pretend that they had completely original ideas. It's like that's not what anyone expects. Like we expect you
yeah,
to be inspired by life and other
It's
people's
okay.
stories.
It's even like the estuary thing where like Brody's son is swimming in like the little estuary, so like not out in the wide open
Yes.
ocean. Like that was a thing that happened in the New Jersey attacks, and
Yes.
that is in the
And
novel.
yeah, yeah, those oh, interesting. And
Yeah.
those attacks were really shocking because it was in a river, right? I believe it
Yeah.
was
Uh-huh.
like, yeah, it wasn't in the ocean. And it was a
Yeah.
child, for at
Yeah.
least one of them. Yeah, very sad.
It is
Anyway,
very
you
sad.
tricked me, but I kind of smelled it. Just
Okay,
wasn't quite there.
no more trick questions. Okay, the iconic line, "You're gonna need a bigger boat," was improvised. True or false?
Hmm. I'm gonna say true just because I want that to be true.
It is true.
Fun.
Roy Schneider improvised that line, but it was actually like kind of a running joke on the set because the boat they were in was too small to fit all of the film equipment. So he did say it on camera, like as his character, but it was kind of like he was like ribbing the guys about the film equipment.
So, yeah, that's funny. That makes sense. It's also a line where you watch it and you hear the line and it kind of just like breezes by. And it's so interesting how these lines can become iconic, like out of context, but then like in
Yeah.
context, it's kind of like,
And
it's like,
like it's so iconic almost in this like ironic way, but it's not. Like he tries to call the Coast Guard to get a bigger boat. Like he
yeah,
really thinks they need a bigger boat. Bruce is
right.
like all up on that boat.
Yeah. He sinks it. So
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
he's on the right path there.
Okay, next fact. Jaws was the first ever movie to predominantly be shot on the ocean. True or false?
Mm. Hmm. 1975. Martha's Vineyard? Sure, I'll say true.
That is true. Usually they would have
Wow.
shot something like this on like a studio water tank, which,
Yeah.
they've been doing for years and continue to do. Spielberg wanted to shoot it like very realistically, and it caused so many issues in
I
the
can imagine.
production, including with Bruce. So they had
Right.
three mechanical sharks and they were like malfunctioning like crazy because they were in the
The
ocean. They were in
ocean.
salt
Yeah,
water.
I
Which
cannot imagine how that would have worked.
yeah. And so this is like one of the reasons, you mentioned that excellent scene where Brody first sees Bruce. It's the first time we've seen Bruce. Well, Bruce is supposed to be a lot more prevalent in the movie, but
That's
he's
true. Yeah, I did
malfunctioning
know
so much.
that.
And that's how we got that like hidden villain, which worked
Yes.
so much better. That's
Yes.
how we ended up with the John Williams score because they were like,
Yes.
we need something to make this scary. We don't have the shark.
That's right. And remember, I told you, I don't know if I referenced Jaws specifically, but in our Friday the 13th episode, that is what they were trying to emulate
Yes.
with the off-screen killer, is to also give Mrs. Voorhees the like, we don't know who she is, but she's there because of this song, just like they did with Jaws. Like, Jaws is there because of the dun it, dun it.
Hmm.
So good. It's good.
Okay, I have three more facts for you.
Okay.
The mechanical shark, who we've established his name is Bruce, he was named after one of the producers on the film. True or false?
I'm gonna say false because you've just been hitting me with all the truths.
That is false. He was named after Spielberg's lawyer.
Oh.
Yep.
Do they call lawyers sharks? Is that why?
I guess so. Yeah. Same as
Bruce.
Bruce.
It's a good name. I like it.
Yeah. It's an excellent shark name. Okay. Steven Spielberg was only 32 years old when this movie came out.
That
True or
sounds
false?
true. That sounds true.
28. He was
What?
28.
That was a trick. That was a trick question.
That
You
was
tricked
kind of a
me.
trick.
28 though.
Can you
Doesn't that make you feel
imagine?
behind?
Yeah, and this
Wanting
was
to at least
his
be our
first big
age.
one. But
Yeah.
like he was like even like given the reins of a movie this big then before he was 28, and how he just kept going from there. That was amazing.
He's so
Truly what have I
great. Where'd he come
accomplished?
from? I hope he never gets
To
canceled. Prayers.
Oh my God, I'm gonna need that to not be a thing. No.
I get
I
so
feel
scared.
like
Anytime I'm like, I say I like someone, I'm like, is this okay? Have they
no,
committed
no.
crimes that I
I
just
think
haven't come
you
across?
should amend that too. Anytime you say you like a man, you to amend
Pretty
that.
much. A man in Hollywood
There
specifically
we
is
go.
what I'm thinking of. Yeah, it's tough out there, but love
Yes,
him, and I feel
yes.
like it's okay to continue to do
Steven
so.
Spielberg, I feel like he's a good
Stay true.
one.
Stay
There's such
true,
good
man.
vibes in his movies. Like you would never go back to
Yes.
Spielberg movies and be like, "Oh, the clues were there all along." Like this, for
Uh,
example,
yeah, like who directed The Shining? What's his name?
Kubrick.
Yeah, I guess he was a
Yeah.
not very nice to say the least, and that
Yes.
tracks. Thinking of, like The Shining.
Yes. Whew.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. Do you have one more?
I have one more. I have one more.
One
This is
more.
a fun
One more.
one.
Okay.
Okay. In the original script and the novel, Hooper, my favorite little hipster, Richard Dreyfuss, was supposed to die. True or
Oh,
false?
interesting. I'm gonna say true.
That was true. He did die in the novel. The whole reason he survived was because somehow, and yet again for this podcast, I did not do as much research as I should have done, that footage of the shark attacking an empty cage was real footage that Spielberg had somehow, and he really wanted to keep that in, but it was an empty cage. So, in order to
Mm,
keep that footage in the film, Hooper needed to get away.
I think it's kind of a nice end too. It is very
Yeah.
Spielberg-esque with like a little extra hope for like a we got our happy ending with Jaws being defeated, and then we also had like our little friends swimming off into
Yeah.
into the
I was
abyss
so nervous when
together.
they were swimming back. Like I
Me
know they don't
too.
get eaten, but at the same time I was like, okay, but sharks?
Like there
Like
is more
they
than
just
one.
killed the only shark in the ocean. Anyway, they made
Yeah.
it. It's fine.
Yeah, yeah, no, especially with like the shark that just exploded and like self-chummed everywhere.
Self
That doesn't make sense,
right?
but yeah.
That would have brought all the other sharks.
Oh yeah. Oh
But
yeah. They were swimming home in shark-infested waters so gleefully. But they made it,
yes.
so it's okay. It's all good.
Well, you did great in the game. Thank you for playing. It was really just an excuse for me to tell you trivia,
Yeah.
and I
It was
appreciate you being
fun.
part
It
of
was
that.
fun. Yeah. All right. Well, that's it for today's comfort horror recap. Sweet dreams, homebodies.
And now it's time for your bedtime story.
Are you ready to dive in?
Ooh, clever.
Oh, I didn't even I didn't write that. That was like me asking you if you wanted a break or if you wanted to keep going.
Well, we're keeping this in
Oh.
the recording now.
Yep,
I'm
yep.
I'm good if you're good.
Okay, let's do it. Okay. Today's paranormal tale is titled What Happened to Shark Alpha? So, today we are going on an ocean adventure. Shocking. Shocking. Yeah, I really am all over the place with my themes here. But we are going to be talking about the mysterious death of a 9-foot great white shark known simply as Shark Alpha. Now, we're a bit late to the game here. Okay, this happened in like 2003, and then people were talking about it in like 2014. Whatever. We just started our podcast, so we're going to talk about it now. But I hadn't heard about this. Had you heard about this?
Never. No.
Okay. Here's how the story goes for everyone else who's in the same boat as us. Get it? Get it? That one was on purpose.
Really good.
Thank you. I'm gonna calm down now. Here's the story. In 2003, a group of researchers in Australia underwent a large-scale tagging effort in order to learn more about great whites' movement patterns. This is a pretty common practice, I think, in the ocean studying world.
Sure.
That's just whatever that's called. Marine biology. Anywho, I said I was going to calm down. During this process, a 9-foot great white shark was tagged and given the name Shark Alpha. Now, a lot of people in the comments section of the internet are like, Shark Alpha, really? Because they think that that is a dumb name for a pretty small, arguably, great white shark. I'm just going to say, if I came across a 9-foot great white shark, you bet your bottom dollar I would not be calling it small. Also,
That's terrifying.
I
Yeah.
would not be coming across it because I would be on land. We've established this already in today's episode. But yeah, it's it's not the biggest shark out there, but it's 9 feet long. That's a decent size. So this tagging process was documented by a filmmaker. His name was David Riggs, and there was a documentary that was released about the process. And for some reason, it wasn't released until 11 years later. Right? So this tagging and story happened in 2003, and then in 2014, this documentary came out, and it was called Hunt for the Super Predator. And the way, I don't really know, obviously I wasn't there paying attention at the time, but it was marketed in a way that made it seem like really intense, which I think is why the internet kind of was like, whoa, like what
Okay.
happened? What happened to this shark? So here is the story. And first I'm going to give the article. The main article that I'm referencing is called Massive Sea Creature Attacks, Kills, and Eats a Great White Shark. And this was written by Justine Alford for the site IFC Science. I said I was going to get into the story, but I'm not quite there yet. So basically, I was trying to track down this documentary. So I was like, I want to watch this. This seems interesting. It'll be
Yeah.
helpful to research the story. And in the article, they link to the video to the page on the Smithsonian channel. And
Okay.
it's gone. Like the video is gone. Like it's been taken down. And I couldn't find anything really that was like very like you'd think this would be like pretty easy to track down and that maybe I would just have
Right.
to pay a few bucks to watch it. I couldn't find it. And I wasn't willing to just go through the BS of sifting through endless YouTube videos that say it's talking about this and it's just some person doing what we're doing.
It's really fair.
Yeah, so
I
I
mean,
didn't
we're
do a deep
not
dive,
the best
but
experts.
yeah, exactly. It was just weird. I was like, what happened to this video? Did they take it down? Like, what's going on? But the article outlined, like, it was an article kind of about the documentary, so it outlined what went down. So, according to the article, 4 months after Shark Alpha was tagged, the tagging device was found just 2.5 miles from the location where they originally tagged the shark. After retrieving the data from the tag, scientists were shocked to discover some very unusual data that gave them a glimpse into the shark's untimely and presumably violent end. The device was found to have gone suddenly to a fairly extreme depth and very quickly. It went down about 580 meters, which is about 1,900 feet. It just was like, whoom, like that is like what the reading
Whoa.
suggested. So I was like, 1,900 feet, that seems like a lot to me, but like the ocean's really big. So I looked up. According to the National Ocean Service, the average depth of the ocean is 12,000 feet, with the deepest part of the ocean being called the Challenger Deep, and that is 36,000 feet. So,
What?
yeah. So we're not like, going way down there, but still
Okay.
to dive 1,900 feet, like what did we say? How tall did we say the Sears Tower was, or the Willis Tower, wherever I was in Chicago? I mean, that's like very far to be plunging.
1,500 feet.
Okay, so it's like pretty similar.
Yeah.
Are you okay after learning how deep the ocean is?
Not really.
I know, me neither. I wasn't. I was like, I need a minute. It's
It
terrifying.
like blows my mind sometimes that is on the same planet as us.
I know. So, I mean, and that's kind of like where people's brain goes. Like, the ocean is really deep. Like, do we really know what's down there? So, basically, the tag is grabbed by something. It's plunged down a lot of feet really fast. And you would think that if, say, this was Bruce, Bruce will say, Bruce the shark is just like, I'm just playing, I'm having a good time, I'm just going to dive really deep. Not typical behavior, I don't think, of great white sharks, but if that were to happen, then the sensor temperature would drop as he went deeper. The ocean gets colder, which is kind of how it works. Science, okay. That's not what happened. So the ocean is typically 32 to 37 degrees Fahrenheit, and this is in like the deeper parts of the ocean.
Okay.
The sensor went from 46 degrees, so we were kind of like closer to the surface. That's a pretty normal ocean temperature, to 78 degrees. and it remained at 78 degrees for 8 days. So what do you think happened
Oh,
there?
I think something ate him.
So the lore and story around this, because of the way that this just having the sensor data and nothing else, was that this shark was like swallowed alive. Like
Whoa.
something swallowed it and then dove
But it was
back into
alive.
its.
So the
I
sensor showed that the shark was alive that whole time?
No, I don't
Okay.
know if the sensor could show that type of reading.
Okay.
Um, but that's basically just like the sensationalized version of what happened. Or
Okay.
like well, of what people were saying happened. Like something huge came up, chomped this 9 foot shark hole, and
Yeah.
then dove back into its
Okay.
dark abyss. So that's kind of like the fun, like, whoa, like what's living down there? We're all terrified. And then the scientists were like, well, well, probably not. Probably not. So people were like, okay, so if it wasn't just some giant predator that swallowed him alive, you could say, okay, something came and took a chomp out of just the sensor and then went back down. It would still be weird to think of like, why would it chomp and then dive
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
fast? That seems like
Uh-huh.
a thing that was done in order to kill it. But so people were speculating like what could have done this. So like a really giant squid, like those have been known to not really consume sharks, but like attack them,
Mm-hmm.
and they're just terrifying. And we're like, do we know how giant a giant squid can get? People wondered if it was a pack of orcas. And then, of course, there were the people that were like, it's just some monster that we don't know about, or like megalodons are still real, you
My
know?
favorite theory.
Yeah, that's definitely the most fun, terrifying one. But science says no. Okay, they have an idea of what did this after thinking through the data, and their conclusion was it was a giant, cannibalistic great white shark. That's pretty
Okay.
scary.
All right.
So, great white sharks are known for cannibalism. It's not unusual. They will eat each other. It's not super common, but it's a known behavior. And
Okay.
I recall being traumatized as a child by footage of great white shark babies in the womb like, eating each other and the rest of the eggs. So that's a thing. That is a thing. But you're thinking about this and you're like, 9 foot great white shark. That's not a huge great white, but that is a big predator. So you would have to be a pretty big shark in order to take down another 9 foot shark. So I did a little research
Yeah.
into shark sizes. It's like I just want to
Okay.
know, like what are they usually at for size? So I did some really hard hitting research. I went to Reddit. I looked at a Reddit thread, and I found out that the largest accepted size of a great white based on biological constraints. So this is kind of like how big could it get based on
Okay.
science is 23 feet.
Pretty
That's
long.
pretty big. To give some context, Bruce, who we've talked about in great detail on today's podcast, the animatronic shark from Jaws was 25 feet. So he was supposed to be, the biggest shark that anyone had ever seen or could see. Biggest great white shark. There are bigger sharks. They're just like cute and eat krill.
Yeah.
Or something. I don't know what they're up to, but they're not eating Quint, at least. So 23 feet, that we've never known a shark to be that big. The biggest one is usually like 19 to 20. No, the biggest one
Okay.
on record is 19 to 20 feet long. So that's like the biggest one ever.
Okay.
Typically, they're
Yeah.
like 12 to 16 feet. So yeah, our little 9 foot shark alpha, he was probably a juvenile, like a younger shark, or
Okay.
on the smaller end. So he was little. But average being like, say it was like it couldn't have been like probably a 12-foot shark or maybe even a 16-foot shark. It probably was one of the the big dogs. I do want to give another mind-blowing measurement for you. I couldn't recall. I knew megalodons were big, but I couldn't recall. Right. So the biggest great white shark, the biggest great white shark was, let's say, 20 feet. Megalodons are estimated to be 60 to 80 feet
Oh
long.
my God.
80 feet, that's like almost 2 school buses just
That's
swimming around.
insane.
That could definitely just clump. Like, the little 9-foot shark alpha would just be like a little snack for him.
I love
I'm gonna have a
megalodon
nightmare tonight. I
movies.
can
I
feel
love
it coming.
them.
It's coming in so strong. Okay. So you could imagine that if this was, say, like a 16-foot great white shark, it could possibly have grabbed Shark Alpha, and the theory would be that he grabbed him and then dove into the depth to kind of throw him off, because this isn't like eating a seal where the seal's just like flopping
Yeah.
around and you just have to kill it. Like, this is another predator that could potentially harm you back. So thought to immobilize it by diving, and then ate the shark. And the reason why they think this is true is, I guess, they also know what the temperature is inside a great white shark's belly, and it's about 78 degrees. The same,
Oh,
yeah, the same temperature that the sensor stayed for 8 days. So
okay.
whether all of Shark Alpha was eaten or just the hunk of the sensor was ripped off, not a great end. So not, a crazy sea cryptid or some secret megalodon, but pretty scary nonetheless.
But it could be. It could be.
Could be. Science says there's an answer. We say we don't know. We can't know for sure. There's no video
Exactly.
footage. It's a good story, though. I enjoyed researching that one. That's
Loved it. I love shark stories. I love shark movies.
Yeah.
I feel like there was some megalodon movie that we watched as like tweens.
Shark Attack 4, the Megalodon. That just came out of the depths of my brain.
Is that what it was?
I don't
Is
know.
that what we that would be amazing.
That is that's something in my brain that's living there.
I
don't
love
know.
it. I mean, also I watched The Meg when it came out a couple years ago. I think
Yeah.
I'm the second one of those. Haven't seen it.
I think so. Was it good? The Meg? Good, bad? Bad, good?
Yes, it was. It was one of those two, good, bad, or
Yeah.
bad, good. It's absurd. It's absurd. It's exactly
Yeah.
the type of movie I love. Yes.
I was gonna say, so you liked it. I probably would be like, a little much.
Yeah, it's a giant
too
shark.
scary
It
for
might be
me.
a little too much. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like underwater in some like I don't think it's a submarine. But it's like an underwater bait. Like it's a
Yeah.
lot. There's no escape, basically.
Don't love it. Don't love it.
Well, loved that story. Thank you. And what are we talking about next week?
Sarah, next week we are going to be doing our first episode of our new series called Back at Home. So we are going to be watching a new movie in theaters, coming home and chatting all about it. And our first edition of this will be about Final Destination Bloodlines. We're a little late to the game, we'll admit it, but we had a really fun chat about it. We really enjoyed the movie, and we are excited to share that with you next week. So we'll see you there.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Haunted Homebodies. Make sure you like and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
And remember, when in doubt, just stay home.